Oh, you know what that sound means. It's time for In the Paddock F1. Greeny and the cheese. Viva la Mexico! Mexico City for the 23rd time. It's the Mexican Grand Prix. It's really big. It's home to 22 million people. The largest Spanish-speaking city in the world. It's also the economic and cultural capital of the country of Mexico. We're high up there too, by the way. It's 77,349 feet. That's 2,000 feet higher than Denver. That's way the heck up there, boys and girls. Street food. Get this man a street taco, por favor. Or make that tres street tacos.
El Pastor, Mr. Travel Show. It's an El Pastor taco.
We're racing the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, the third shortest circuit on the calendar at 2.67 miles, 17 corners. You give it the full beans for 48% of your lap. And oh, Checos, they're out to see their hero. It's always a ridiculous start in Mexico with the over 800-meter run to turn one. The Red Bulls got brilliant starts compared to the Ferraris who locked out the front row. It was 3 wide in the turn one with the Red Bull sandwiching Leclerc. And oh, as we know, 3 does not go into 1. As Perez hits Leclerc and ends his day, disappointing his fans on a bonehead move. A VFC and red flags followed. It was madness. But in the end, Max, of course, wins again, breaking his own record from last year, making that 16 and counting wins on the season. Lewis takes second, his 197th career podium, breaking his own record. And Charles Leclerc fills out the podium in third. We're caffeinated, we're medicated, Greeny. Good day, sir.
Good day indeed. Mexican Grand Prix. There's nothing short to talk about today about all the drama surrounding the Mexican Grand Prix, including Lewis Hamilton getting booed.
They booed Charles Leclerc.
They definitely booed Charles Leclerc as the conspiracy begins to unravel once again. Last week, Leclerc having the DQ, maybe a little revenge, maybe trying to take out his boy.
What?
The conspiracy.
What?
It deepens. But what do you think? Hey, first of all, Max Verstappen, as you said, the 16th win of the year, the most ever. Obviously, ever is a relative term. You know, you went from starting the F1, with 7 races, and now we have 20 whatever 3.
Yeah, for a long period, it was only 16.
It was 16 for a long period of time. So pretty much you had to win every single race up until relatively recently before. You could have to win every single race to get that number. So now, with a lot more races, the number changes, but history doesn't. And Max Verstappen is the most wins of all time in any one singular F1 season. So it probably makes it more difficult to get to this point of the season and have more races and be so consistent. It's really something we've never seen before, and something that may stand for a very, very long time. And we're not done yet, sir. We still have 2 more races to go. So we can make it 18. That's an insane number. That's right. Why do I keep thinking Vegas is the last race of the year?
Well, we finished in Abu Dhabi, son.
Yeah, it's definitely going to Abu Dhabi. So we have 3 races to go. So that's 19. That's insane. That's crazy. It's 3 more than we've had races, before. So, with that, absolutely amazing. What's even more amazing, if you are not a Checo Perez fan, is Checo Perez going airborne on turn 1. Jeez, what the hell happened there?
It was just a dumb move. I mean, Lewis did the same thing. I mean, if you watch the 3 podium drivers in the post-race in the cool-down room, watching the replay of the race, Lewis goes, "Oh, I tried that 2 weeks ago in Qatar. 3 cars does not go into 1." I mean, Charles Leclerc was the middle car, so, I mean, he had nowhere to go. Max isn't giving up the inside.
And there it is. Look at it.
It was crazy. It was crazy aggressive.
Look at it. He almost went airborne. I mean, look at that tire. Look at that tire. It's a little kiss.
Yeah. Side pad.
Just holding on. Yeah.
The clear hit.
Right there. Boom. Looks like a hole was blown right into it. Yeah, man.
I mean, that was just a dumb move. He said he was proud that he went for it. That's flat out stupid. I mean, Lewis came out and said he was stupid for what he did, 2 races ago in Qatar. And Perez to go out there and say, I was disappointed in the result, but I'm proud of that I went. Well, you went for it, you crashed out. Good move. Well done, sir. You're an idiot. And you're going to lose your seat because of it. Because Danny Ricciardo put in a performance in the AlphaTauri. Out-qualified you and finish 7th in a far inferior car. You know, Checo Perez might have a seat next year, but I might not be in that Red Bull. Him and Ricciardo could be switching seats. We've seen Red Bull do this before.
That's how Max got his seat. Was with that Danny Kvyat.
Yep. Also seen him do it with Alex Albon. Yeah, with Albon and Gasly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Red Bull's got a track record of it. And, you know, they are the only, you know, team on the grid that has, you know, the main team, and then they have their, you know, their sister team, which is, you know, they can work, you know, raise drivers up through there, which they have done. Only team on the grid that has that luxury, really.
It's a luxury.
You know, no other team on the grid has that.
If you have that luxury, you should use it. All right, that's what it's there for. And they've used it before, and
I don't think they'll do it this year.
No,
but
no. It makes no sense. Everything's wrapped up.
24, absolutely. I could see them booting Perez to AlphaTauri. I could absolutely see it. I mean, that was complete disappointment. Max has more points cleared, I think, than Checo. If you take Checo's points and double it, Max still has that beat. That's how far ahead Max has been to his teammate, who should, you know, be way closer than that. But it's just put in bad performances and making dumb moves.
He literally got his ass kicked on his home track. Right, got his ass kicked right out.
He even said that a podium wasn't good enough. He wanted the win. Well, you know what, bro? You haven't been on the podium in how long? And you're in that car. So maybe getting on the podium isn't that bad of an idea. And if you want to keep that seat, that probably would have been a little help to keep your seat. Because now Lewis Hamilton's only 20 points behind you. And your performances haven't been that great this year. So Lewis passes you for second. And I think his seat's riding on him finishing second in the championship at this point.
Last podium for Checo Perez, Italian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It's not good. That's not good when you're driving that car.
It's not good when you're driving the best car in the world. And the hardest thing for Checo is, I think, the last 10 years of history in F1 where we've seen the best car really go 1-2 or 1-3 at worst. We're seeing it 1-2 this year, but I think the rest of the field, there's so much parity in the rest of the field. You know, the way Aston Martin started hot, and then McLaren started gobbling up some of those points. All the craziness has gone on between Mercedes and Ferrari. Neither of them, both of them trying to not take, you know, all four of those drivers are trying their hardest to not overtake Checo Perez. Both those teams, because one of those four drivers at this point should have passed him. There's plenty of points out there. The four drivers at the rear are getting nothing right now. And AlphaTauri's coming up with points.
They're up to 8th now.
Yeah.
They passed both Haas and Alfa Romeo.
And
flew right by him with those points that Danny
gobbled them up. And these points matter late. We'll get to some back-end teams needing points later in the broadcast, I promise you that. When we get to winners and losers, mostly losers.
Between what is it? Between 9th and 8th? I think 9th and 8th is $20 million.
It's huge. Now, $20 million is not the same as what it used to be.
Well, it's still $20
as
million.
Andretti Racing will tell you that that's a whole other show. If you missed that show, check out our Andretti Racing show. The quest for Team 11 in Formula One. But any final thoughts about our podium here? About Max breaking his own record, which he'll break probably again in a couple days here.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much almost guarantee that one. Well, then, no, you can't, because Brazil is Brazil. And you never know Brazil, because the weather changes very fast in Brazil.
And a desert race at the end. And Vegas, a brand new track, and a desert race. So there's it's three interesting races coming up.
The Red Bull, I can see cleaning that up with no problem. That's 17. Next two races are crapshoots, really, because we never did the Vegas Grand Prix here. And Brazil, you never know. But George Russell won last year. So, it's a little bit of a crapshoot in Brazil with the weather and how things can work out.
It absolutely is a crapshoot. But what's not a crapshoot is that we're going to have winners and losers. We're going to have quizmasters come, and somebody's going to get slapped. I got a long list tonight. I don't know what your list is looking like.
Yeah, I got a sheet.
That's right. In the paddock, F1 Greeny the Cheese. We have returned. We'll be returning again soon because we're going to be going to Brazil turnaround's pretty quick, huh?
The second of 3 weekends in a row. Then a 2-week break to Vegas.
When you get the 2-week break and then you get to Vegas, baby, Thanksgiving weekend in the United States, big weekend here. That's a Saturday night race.
I think it's the week before Thanksgiving weekend.
Week before Thanksgiving week, but regardless, that is a.
I think Thanksgiving weekend. I think it might be because then it's Vegas and then Abu Dhabi are back to back. So we go from Vegas to Abu Dhabi. That's quite a move in a week's time. But as always, you're just trying to delay.
Never. Not for you.
Oh, you're just delaying on failing the weekly quiz as you tend to do recently.
Well, you know.
So let's get you strapped in.
All right, that's working.
On.
That's working. The buzzer.
Well, that's probably the only one we're going to need, as usual.
It's the only one we're going to need. There is. Thank God there's only 3 more races to go. Spend the off season going back to that Formula One school.
Yeah, maybe you should.
That's rough. It's ice cold.
It's cold as ice. But anyway, here we go. Quizmaster's Cockpit. Are you ready, sir?
No, but let's go.
Question number 1. In Mexico, how many meters is it from the start to turn 1? It's a repeat question from last season.
How many meters? Yeah, I know.
It was stated more than once.
Yeah, I know it was stated more than once. I have... How many meters to turn 1? I mean, it's far.
Well, that's great.
It's
That's
not
great.
like a...
Far is not a number of meters.
I mean, it's not like right there.
Far.
You got to get full
It's
speed.
Far. It's far.
380.
No, that's not even close. 811.
I knew it was an 8 in there.
But you said 3.
380. Honestly, out of all the things I know, I have no idea what the track dimensions. He's gonna say, well, maybe you should. I know, I don't pay attention to these things. Some things you pay attention. So remember that dress, like back in the day, where people thought it was like blue and gold, and other people thought it was like white and orange, whatever it was. Anyway,
No. I don't know what you're talking about. As always, you're off to a flying start. Question number 2. Lewis and Max were on the podium again together in a 1-2. How many times have they both been on the podium in 1-2 together? Either way, first or second.
box or straight.
But how many? Yeah, boxed. But how many times have they both been 1-2 together?
Yeah, they did mention it as well several times in the broadcast. That's a good question. 32.
Close, but no. 36. The answer to that question.
It's a lot. That's a
lot.
That's a lot of races, 1-2.
That's a lot of races.
It's an
That's a lot of
impressive
races.
number. Not an impressive answer, but an impressive number.
So we're 0 for 2. Very good. Well, we know we're going to start the next part of the segment is question 3.
But you knew that after the first question. But go ahead, keep digging.
Yeah, but you failed twice. So it's we're off to our usual.
We're going to slap first?
I don't know. Maybe we should. With your performances recently, slap your own damn self.
I might have to. Easy. Come on. Keep going.
All right, here we go. Question 3. Max now has 16 wins and counting. He holds the top 2 spots all time in Formula One for wins, with 16 this year and 15 last year. 2 drivers, though, are tied for 3rd. Who are they? And how many wins each?
Oh my gosh, this season.
And don't be Googling over there.
I'm not doing anything over here. I wish I was. I wish it was that quick to be able to Google any of this shit.
Two drivers.
Seb.
It's one.
And Lewis.
No. That is incorrect. Seb and Schumacher.
It was got to be either Lewis or Schumacher. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I running out of choice. It wasn't Lewis.
And how many wins?
It was 12.
No, 13. So you failed this week miserably.
Yeah, it was a crash and burn there. I'm not good with numbers.
So, well, as your performance leads us to, we go to the losers. And I get up a sheet this week for that.
Hopefully I'm not on the list.
I'm gonna go with well, you're always on the list because you stink. That's why we start there.
Easy now.
But anyway, we're gonna go.
I don't win streak going out at one time.
You did for a minute, but that didn't last very long. And it's been quite a many moons since that happened too.
Yeah, because you know what I know, and you try to figure out what I don't know, and then you ask those questions. But keep going, it's fine.
Well, I dig down deep.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's good. We're running out of time already. We got like 6 minutes left for this segment. Keep going.
All right. I'm gonna give it to Aston Martin again. Another double DNF. Just an absolute collapse since the break. I mean, beginning of the season, we're talking Aston Martin to be finishing second in the constructors, both you and I, and now they're straight trash, like straight trash. It's embarrassing, is what it is.
It's a long season. I think both drivers and I think the entire team is just starting to show where they didn't. They blew it too early. They went too early.
We'll get into something later, but their upgrades have been awful.
Awful.
So that might be an issue that has to be addressed because that's been bad. And I don't know. You could give it to a billion people. I'm going to go Yuki. You know, trying to make that move on Piastri there, and then screaming like it was Piastri's fault. Like, where's Piastri supposed to go? Supposed to just yield and give him the spot?
It was bad.
Come on, that's an awful job turning into somebody like that. I mean, you really with, you know, Yuki throws in that good performance, but then he throws in, you know, a handful of bad ones after. So he should be concerned about his seat, to be honest, because he's been driving like trash this season, and that's pretty much been his forte for the last couple seasons as well. So I'll stop there. I mean, I could go on. We could both go on with losers this week.
It was bad. It was bad. I'm gonna start with the Haas team because I don't know if it was Nico's fault or that was not Nico, but K-Mag's fault. But
the suspension broke.
It's whose fault is it?
It's a part failure.
It's definitely a part failure.
I mean, it does happen. Is it, you know, that spot is not a good spot to have it happen. That was a hard lick.
Yeah,
a hard lick.
Yeah, that was rough.
A hard lick.
That was rough, but that went on him.
But
got to give it to the team as well. You guys are competing for those final points. You need a couple points. You need to throw a couple points on the board here. And just a couple. Just give me like 5 freaking points to stay out of 10th. This goal this year was to stay out of last. And now you're looking at 3 races ago, you're looking last dead in the eye. You're looking dead in the eye. We're talking 7th, maybe 6th this year. And now you're talking dead last. Dead last. What do you get for that? $20?
I don't know.
What do you get for that? What do you get for that? A coupon to friendlies? What the hell do you get for 10th? If you're getting $20 million for like 7th or whatever, what do you get for 10th? Sympathy card? What the hell do you get for that?
Not that much money, I'll tell you.
You gotta stay out of the basement. You gotta stay out of the basement. And Haas is dangerously close to the basement. I think they're in the basement.
Well,
I think they're dead last now.
As you said last week, you got an old man and a farmer driving. So
there's an old man and a farmer driving, and this week they were. I think at the beginning of the season, because that's also the worst part about it, is because preseason they were looking like a top 6, maybe 7 team, and hang on.
Yeah, then other teams brought upgrades, and they didn't bring any until the end of the year. So.
And I apologize. I'm dead wrong. I'm dead wrong. I'll put it up on the screen here. Maybe I can't put it up on the screen. Oh, there it is. There it is, sir. Because now, in dead last, if you can see,
That's
all the way down there.
Yeah, it's Haas.
The dead last now. With AlphaTauri and Danny Rick getting them out of the basement.
Yep.
And Haas in the basement. Speaking of Danny Rick, we're going to go see, I'm about to go, actually, in a few moments here, when I get off with you, I'm going to go see one of Danny Rick's favorite bands, the Gaslight Anthem, playing it for the record release tonight. That's very exciting. He loves the Gaslight. Yeah, Alfa Romeo, they stink. They stink. It was bad. It was extra bad today. It was extra bad in this race. I can't believe you didn't have them because
I had him on my sheet here of losers this week.
Yeah, I think that was probably the worst performance. Aston Martin definitely, and I mean Lance Stroll blew it late. He was still riding in the back of the pack anyway, even if he didn't, crash out. But I mean, Bottas, Enzo, they both started fifth row. Both started fifth row. They combined for a loss of 10 places. Come on. Do we even have any slaps left? Do you got any slaps left in the thing here? Because we got to go to winners first. Let's go to winners. Might not have many.
Lando Norris.
And he's looking at the list.
Incredible drive. And as, just the ridiculous drive by Lando, cutting through the field more than once. I mean, it's probably his best drive of his career, to be honest. Danny Rick started 4th, finished 7th. I think that Red Bull seat's in his future. I really do. I think Danny Rick might be back. I think that time off did him some damn good. Cleared his head. I think that seat's in his future. Those will be my winners.
Yeah, I like Esteban Ocon this week. I think he drove. I think he drove well. I think he picked himself up five places. Definitely did not have the qualifying that he wanted to have. That's for sure. But he ended up picking it up and getting at least a point out of the weekend. Because Alpine has been going in the wrong direction at times over the last month or so here. Gotta give it up. I mean, Charles Leclerc, can we give it to him? Fourth podium of the year. It's been a rough one. I think you were expecting a lot more than 4 podiums this year out of Charles Leclerc. If we went back to March, I think if I told you in beginning of November that we'd only have 4 podiums for Charles Leclerc, you might not like that answer. So definitely, 4th time.
Yeah.
In this was the 18th race of the season. So not a great percentage of podiums from the Ferrari, but he made it on. You got to give it to him and got to give credit where credit's due. And him and Carlos Sainz starting in front row. Got to give them both credit where credit is due.
Yeah, 3-4. It's a good finish.
Take a look. That's all I got. I mean, he said nothing about the Mercedes. We said Lewis Hamilton. We're going to throw in George Russell at the end there. Good race today. Started 8th, finished 6th. It was really solid all around. He had a quiet day, but get some points. It's better that George Russell has quiet days. Let's be real.
Yeah, George Russell's pretty much all or nothing.
Yeah, so he's better when he's quiet. When you don't hear from him and you see him start and see him finish, and very little kerfuffle going on from him. That's all I got. I think that covers everything. So you, sir, of course, have the privilege and the honor.
Slap my goddamn for that.
slap someone in the face.
I'm slapping Sergio Perez. I mean, that's just a bonehead move, and you're fighting for your seat that's just awful. You really can't do that. I mean, it was an easy second place. You would have, with that car, should have easily been able to pass Leclerc in a couple lap or two or something to get the second, and then you can fight it out with your teammate maybe you're not quicker than anyway. So second place was pretty much the best you were going to get, and to do that on lap one, you're not winning the race in lap one. You're losing it in lap one, and that was awful. And you're fighting for your seat.
I've got a counter to that. And I'll leave it at this. We got Greeny Bucks coming up next. The counter to that thought is this. You start on the front row, and you have less problems like that. You quali 1 or 2 and start on the front row, you're going to have less chances of having issues like Sergio Perez had. Greening the cheese in the paddock F1. Greeny Bucks coming up. Stick around. We're back after this. Am I right?
Yes. Back. In the paddock F1. Greening the cheese. Oh, you know what that sound means, boys and girls. It's time to take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island of green soap. The beer flows like wine, and the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis grows as far as the eyes can see. Look at it. Green and luscious. Let's take a little whiff. That air smells fantastic. And as always, we take a little walk to the top of the hill with our tickets in hand to that casino at the top. Are we cashing in? Or are we checking out? That SOB Perez cost me money this week.
The SOB cost me money. That man cost me money. That stinks. Not so hot. That's for sure. We both won Lando Norris. Right on. Both won Lando Norris. Both took Max.
I mean, how could you not, really?
At this point. As little as it pays out, it still pays out.
It's a fool's errand to take anybody else.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous. And I think finally, and the final point about all of it is, you got to hit a trifecta here. That's just bottom line. You got to hit a trifecta, and I have to not hit a trifecta.
No, really.
Because...
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think I'm aware of this?
Maybe there's a conspiracy against you. Have you thought about that?
That could be.
Have you thought about that?
That could be. I mean,
it has nothing to do with Lewis Hamilton taking second.
I've dominated you for the past few seasons. So.
And the conspiracy I spoke about before, let's be honest, and I did mention it, I think you were a little confused. The conspiracy I spoke about before was talking about how Lewis Hamilton is being prevented, the conspiracy, to getting into second over Sergio Perez. And I think that was intentional from Charles Leclerc. I think he knew what he was doing. It was revenge. For Sergio's guy, took them out last week. As I said last week, get the yarn, get the strings, get the board. I need pictures. We're going down the rabbit hole, my friend. But before that, I think it's important that we do a little in the news.
Oh, we got the whole heap of stuff this week, to be honest. Where do we start? Let's see. How about a Sergio Perez fan is now banned for life for attacking a Ferrari fan and starting a fight in the stadium section? I mean, how about that? How about that? How about that? I mean, that's some wild stuff right there.
There was a beatdown. There was some girl. All right, there was some, and I'll try to find it here, but there was some who's getting like stomped on the whole time. It was a little out of control. It was a little out of control. Yeah, I'll try to get it up, but keep going. I'm going to try to get this video up here because we do have to see it.
Let's see what else we got. Danny Rick looked back in form. It has been heavily linked to taking that seat in 24. Is Perez out and Danny in? I mean, this is like a weekly thing now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so happy for Danny Rick, by the way. I am so happy for Danny Rick. How can you not be? Obviously, we share a mutual friend, which is like, even better. But how could you not be? Sorry, I'm bringing up the... no, we don't want that. Look at these guys. Look at it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that shit right there. You see it right there. That guy had a nice right hook, though. That had a nice right hook. He's swinging. Watch her right here, right? They're gonna replay this jive. Yeah, anyway, out of control.
I mean, you're punching somebody because your driver turned into somebody. Like, you even look like more of an idiot. And then you're never allowed back at an F1 race ever in your life. So, well done, sir. Good job. You're an idiot. Definitely happy for Danny. Did Bottas deserve his 5-second penalty for the contact with Stroll there at the end of the race? I say no.
It was interesting contact. It was interesting. I couldn't tell. I was actually going to ask you this earlier, but I couldn't tell who hit who here.
I mean, what is Bottas supposed to do? Was he supposed to stop?
It was almost like he ran into him. I mean, it was.
I mean, he was there, and Stroll turned down, thinking he was clear almost, or thinking Bottas was just going to give him the spot, like just here, just take it. Like what racing driver's doing that? I mean,
hold on.
I don't think he did. I think that's just a racing incident. No penalty or 5-second penalty should have been applied there. That's ridiculous.
I think, and again, I think it's. I don't know if it's justified or not. He didn't lose out on points, so I think that was just to appease the Stroll family. And you say who just goes in and takes something? You're talking about Lance Stroll here, okay? Like, this is his entire life. His entire life is just walking in and taking whatever he wants. That's how he was raised. Am I wrong? I mean,
no.
You walked right into that one.
Well, yeah. Well, Lance Stroll stinks. We know this already.
He stinks, but he has no idea he stinks. He thinks he's the greatest F1 driver ever.
Well, whatever he's smoking, send some of that my way, because I got to get on that high kite. Because dang. Let's see. I got another one here for you. The president of F1, Mohammed Ben Salem, says he was attacked and abused for the 11th team possibly joining the grid by unnamed people within Formula One. So that'll be the other 10 teams. What's your thoughts on that?
He's claiming. I didn't see he was claiming he was physically. Was he physically assaulted?
Well, no, not physically. Not physically.
Okay. Makes a little more sense then. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about money. They're talking $200 million to add a team. It's more like $1 billion is a fair offer. And that's going to change when the Concord next deals come up, because it's going to change. And they don't want to negotiate with a team that's entering in 2026 with an older contract with an older threshold to join. $200 million sounds like an insane amount of money. Give that to me. I will not yell at anyone. Give me 20 million. Give me 2 million. Give me $2 at this point. I'll be happy with anything. But yeah, I think the threshold is closer to $1 billion to enter. That's $100 million per team for their development, and I think that's what they want. It also lessens how much money Andretti Racing has coming in. It kind of handicaps them for the first few years and forces them to be successful, and kind of handicaps them charging that much money. That's an appropriate number. I say $800 million to $1 billion is an appropriate number for a team entering Formula One, not $200 million. That's a huge difference. And that's why he's getting verbally assaulted.
Well, you know how many teams that are technically allowed to be on the grid, right?
10 teams.
By the Accord. No. You're allowed to have 12 teams on the grid.
Okay.
That's in the Accord. So you can technically have 2 more teams without violating or, doing anything.
It's about money.
You have 12.
It's about money. You're talking between $600 and $800 million dollars.
Plus, they know the way. Plus, the other teams are worried about the Andretti's and how they've done in all their other racing series that they've joined. They do well. Teams are afraid of that.
They're only afraid of it if they don't get compensated up front. If you're writing them a check for $100 million that they can use for development, then the shift in monies given based on place at the end of the season would compensate for that. That's why they want that compensation. So it'll compensate if Andretti comes in 7th in that first year, and all the teams that were going to finish 7th through 10th now finish 8th through 11th and lose X number of dollars because of that. They want that compensation up front. They don't want $20 million. That's not compensation for dropping a place. I'm talking 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th, something like that. I'm not talking 1st or 2nd. We're not talking anything crazy like that. But I think that's where they're at. They want to be compensated up front for the potential loss of a place from 6th to 7th or 7th to 8th or 8th to 9th or something like that. That's what they want. They want the compensation. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with the teams fighting back and trying to get that. You're talking about a lot of money. $200 million doesn't cut it. That was impressive 5 years ago, not anymore.
Well, that's what he even said, too. He went on to say that it's all about greed.
It's not about greed, though. It's not about greed. No, I don't think so in this case.
I think it is. I think it's a little bit of greed, too. Absolutely.
Who gets that money, though? Where does that money go? It's the same thing in every sport. Everyone's like, oh, the players get too much, or this guy gets too much. Where does the money's coming in? If they don't have that money, no one's getting it.
They don't have. Doesn't mean they have to spend it on development.
But whatever they want to spend it on, that $100 million, whatever you want.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Lawrence Stroll wants to go buy something else. Who the heck knows?
I could think of Lawrence Stroll wants to buy.
Doesn't mean they have to put it to that too. So
honestly,
your team Haas might take that money and pay off all their debt that they probably are digging themselves into.
Yeah, the cement footbath they're filling up right now.
So I mean, it's a little bit of the greed. There's definitely the greed factor in there. Absolutely, 100%.
I think
Absolutely.
it's worth that $100 million extra or whatever it is to buy an island somewhere off the Pacific. These beautiful, beautiful untapped islands. You can get a plane, and you just drop that whole Stroll family right in there. Like, give them their own island, and just drop them all off there, and just leave them there. And that's probably the betterment for the sport. That's probably the best thing that can happen.
No, that's been an absolute collapse. I mean, he doesn't. Also, rumored he's selling that team anyway. So,
anyway, any more in the news before we finish up here, sir?
We'll go with one more here, sir. Lando put in an amazing drive there in Mexico. Will he ever get a win in the McLaren?
Yeah, he came close enough this year. He came close enough. I mean, it's going to be
winning though.
It's going to have to be a situation where Max in the next year or two, where Max, for whatever reason, doesn't finish a race or doesn't come in first. But yeah, I don't think it's impossible. I think things happen. McLaren's won over the last few seasons. It's not like they've been winless, but it's been few and far between. That's for sure. But yeah, I really do think that Lando could do it potentially. Is there a good chance? Probably not, but he can do it. He can do it. He's got it in the McLaren. Will he be in McLaren in 3 years? No. I don't know where he'll be, but likely probably not in the McLaren, unless they pick up their game and actually can, race, put 2 seasons together, put 2 halves together, and make it one season.
Whatever team is also gonna give him a big fat check too. So,
well, someone's gonna give Lando Norris a big fat check. I think it'll be Ferrari. I think honestly,
could be Red Bull.
Could be Red Bull as well.
Absolutely could be Red Bull. I think he is actually a target of Red Bull. So,
or he could end up taking over Lewis Hamilton.
That you have out
in 2-3 years.
Absolutely.
It's another British driver slotting in there. Listen, we gotta go. We'll be back before you know it because we got Brazil coming up. Trees, tell us all about it.
Going to Brazil in a week.
Brazil in a week. We will be there and Interlagos. We will see how it goes. See if Haas can put a point on the board here because we are dead last. Dead last right now.
I wouldn't count on that.
Dead last. I would not. Do not bet on that. Do not bet on that. Greening the cheese in the paddock F1. We will see you guys as always, sir. Bring us home.
As always, stay medicated, my friends.
See you in a week.
Peace.
Peace.